Let's see. We got this up and running. It still says we're offline. I don't know why. Let's see. If anybody's in the house, let me know. Drop a little comment. See. I'll have everybody refresh. Everybody let me know. Throw some thumbs up. Let me know if you can hear me. Everything sound fine? And we're back. There we go. Hey, Right Riders, thank you so much for joining me on today's live stream. If you're catching us on the replay, sorry we missed you, but thanks for tuning in. If you can't tell, I'm a little under the weather, but I absolutely didn't want to miss today because this is some great information that I wanted to share. So if you want to be successful at self-publishing books online, one of the key areas that you need to understand is how to get reader feedback. Whether you're making low content books, no content books, or even written books, your goal is always to make a better book than the last one. Well, what better way to do this than by learning from your readers directly? So today, I'm going to give you 5 ways to learn from your readers and hopefully lead to you selling more books online and offline. Also, make sure that you stick around to the end because I've got one bonus tip that you're probably not going to want to miss. It's something that I've never heard anybody talk about, but it's something that's been extremely successful for me. First, let's check out the chat, see how everybody's doing. Let's see, I see Andy's in the house. Christopher's in the house. Mary Vogelsong, glad to have you here. And we're back. Thanks. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, for some reason it still says that I'm offline, but obviously I'm not, so I will ignore YouTube for now. Well, my daughter, the one that popped in on the last live stream, she was nice enough to share her cold with everybody in the house. So that's the downside to having so many people in the family is once one person gets sick, everybody gets sick. But again, I know I missed 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I didn't want to miss again. So this is probably going to be a shorter video, just because I don't know how long my voice is going to hold out. But I want to make sure that I give you guys this information. Let's see who else is in the house. I see Crystal's here. Kevin McGuire's in the house. Hey, buddy. All right. So number 1. And some of these are going to seem obvious, but unfortunately, common sense isn't always common practice, and so I just need to reiterate them and reiterate the importance of them. So number 1 is your competitors' reviews. This is helpful not only when creating something new, like a new niche, so you can learn what people are looking for and what they're not looking for, but even when you're already in the niche, keeping an eye on what your competitors' readers are saying will help you tweak what you already have. So I gave myself a little hint. So things like the content itself, what's missing. So if you look at their 1, 2, and 3 star reviews, you'll see what's missing from theirs that you can add into yours. Also, if you look at their 5-star and 4-star reviews, you can see what they're doing right and make sure that they're things that you're mirroring in your book. Again, not copying them, but mirroring what they're looking for. Also, especially if you're a writer, or even with no content books, the length. Sometimes people will say that there's not enough pages, or there were too many pages. That's the kind of information that is helpful when you create your next book. For writers, you can also read in their 1 and 2 star reviews. People complain about maybe the plot points, or maybe, especially if they're avid readers, they will include things about the character building. Like this person just, they were useless. Why were they even in the book? So to be more mindful of that in your books. Number 2, and this is on the same note, it's your own reader reviews. So, and again, don't just focus on reviews on Amazon. Goodreads, a lot of people will leave reviews, and a lot of people leave reviews there and not on Amazon, because on Goodreads, you can get away with just leaving just a star review and not actually have to put any kind of context behind it. Now, obviously, when it comes to something like this where you're learning from them, not having the context isn't that helpful. But because people are in the habit of using Goodreads, they may leave 4-star reviews or 1-star reviews on Goodreads that they don't leave on Amazon. So, especially if maybe they didn't purchase it on Amazon. So, checking out other places besides just Amazon for your own reviews as well. And again, you can learn, the length. Is your length too long, too short? I know Kevin McGuire had this where his readers were telling him, we want more. We want your books to be longer. So so each book he made longer and longer, and that's because he listened to his. Not only did he listen to his readers, but he actually followed up on that. And they're becoming more and more successful. So that's kudos to Kevin for listening. Not just reading the reviews or reading the comments from his email list, but actually doing something about it. Number 3 is your social media. Chances are you probably already have some kind of social media following, whether it's just friends and family, or whether it's people that are actually tuned into your niche and your particular author brand. Listen to those, and those people are a little more laid back and a little more relaxed in that atmosphere, so you can get a little bit more information, and you can actually do things like polls. You can put a poll up and ask questions that you're not going to get in a review. Questions like where do you get your books? Not necessarily what particular stores, but do you get it at a store? Do you get them online? What type of books do you listen to, or do you read? Do you ebook, paperback, audiobook? You can ask them about the different genres that they read, especially if you're thinking about maybe stretching out and going somewhere else, into a different genre. It'll be even easier for you if you see that readers of your current genre also read this genre. Then you already have that following that is more likely to follow you over to your new genre than if you just pick some genre that you're interested in, but not necessarily that your following is interested in. That way you don't have to start from scratch. You can kind of pull over those people that are following you already for your current genre. Let's see. Also, you can ask where they're located. Obviously, you don't want to ask them their city and town, but you can ask them. Do kind of like a geography call out, roll call, or whatever, and ask. Where are you from? What country? What state? Whatever. This way, you can see where your readership is really at. Especially if you plan on in the future maybe doing some visits, some author signings and stuff like that, author visits, book signings. If you know that a core part of your audience is in a certain state or a certain city, then that would be a lot easier for you to plan your tour, if that's what you want to call it, like your author book tour. Let's see, we've got number 4. This is one of my favorites, and it is let's see, 2, 3. In person. Talking about author visits and book signings. When you're there and you're face to face with somebody, you can get a lot more quality information. Make sure that you bring a pad and pen so you can actually jot this stuff down, because you're going to get so much positive and some constructive feedback. But chances are, if they're showing up, then they're already a fan. But they can give you feedback on everything from what characters they liked or what they like in your book, to you can even ask them how would you extend this book, or what, trying to get some ideas for them, especially if you're running a little low on the creative side, as far as like, okay, where else should I go with this book or for this series. You can get some really good feedback and ideas from your readers. Oh, I'd love to know what such and such is doing, or I'd love to know if these, if this couple gets together, and it could even add into spin-off books. So, if they really love this side character that really isn't a main integral part of your books or your series, but that, everybody loves them, then you can do a whole nother series just on that one character. And this is the kind of stuff that you really will only get if you talk, in person with them. Let's see. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then here's my bonus tip. Normally I would save my bonus tip a little bit later. Oh, no, I do have one, and I forgot, but I just remembered it. ARC and beta readers. Some people may think that they're one and the same, and they're not. I can do a whole nother video on the differences between beta readers and ARC readers, but basically your beta readers are readers who, just kind of like when you're beta testing something, they're your readers before your book is really completely done. They're the ones that are going to help you perfect it. They're the ones that are going to help you, they're going to find key areas. They're basically your additional editors, if you will. They'll tell you, okay, if there's a whole area that's missing, like this doesn't make sense, or how did you go from point A to point B? The real core content of your book. Those beta readers are going to be the ones that are going to help you fix that. ARC readers are just readers that basically your book's already done, but you want to send the book out to them, and it stands for Advanced Reader Copy, and they're going to read it before it's available to the public, and they'll give you those last minute tweaks, maybe some typos, some grammatical errors, but most importantly, they'll help you with those initial reviews on launch day. So that's the difference between beta readers and ARC readers, but in both cases, their feedback is invaluable as far as not just how to make that one particular book better, but you're going to get comments that are going to go far beyond this book. There may be suggestions and ideas that they bring up that you can't fit into this book, but you don't want to just let it go. So you've got to jot that down so you remember it for next time. And I would also jot down who you got that from, so you can go back and pick their brain a little bit more when the time comes. And so again, ARC readers and beta readers are an invaluable asset to your business. And even if you're doing no content, low content books, obviously, you really don't need a beta reader per se, but whether you want to call them beta readers, ARC readers, a few people that you can send it out to and get their feedback on it. Maybe they can suggest ways to make your interior a little bit more tuned in, a little bit more tweaked for your particular genre. Again, just one more way to make your book stand out from your competition. So that feedback is, again, invaluable. And now for my bonus tip. Bonus tip, get all excited. For those of you who may not know, my day job is I'm in market research. I've been doing this for 20 years. And so what I do is I actually will send out surveys you can use a free site like SurveyMonkey and create, I usually don't do any more than 5 questions, and you get the feedback. Instead of including a link at the end of my book to leave a review, on some of my books, I will leave a link to get their input, but in the way of a survey. I also will use it on some of my email lists. Just periodically, I'll say, hey, I've got a couple questions for you. I'd love to know what you think. People love to feel like they're getting, like their feedback matters. So again, doing it in a survey type format, it's not as personable, obviously, as face to face, but you can still use it in much that same way, because you can do open-ended questions, which, for those who may not know, an open-ended question is basically just where they type out their answers. But you can also do, multi-punches, where, getting back to kind of what I said with the social media, where you can ask them, where they're from, what type of books they buy, what genres they buy, just to learn more from your reader. It will help you drastically, not only in this one particular book that you're focusing on, but it'll help you in your business in general to learn more about your readers. Because what other chances do you have to actually get your readers' feedback and make yourself a better writer, a better creator, whatever you're working on, than hearing it directly from them? Again, I usually don't do more than 5 questions, just because people have a very short attention span, and the more questions you have, the less chances they'll participate. They'll usually drop off in the middle, and the less quality feedback you'll get. But if you include a couple questions, and one of them do some kind of open-ended question where they can actually type in, those are great ways to get basically the equivalent to what they would put on a review page, but also this additional information, like where they're from, what other kind of genres they read or listen to in audiobook, anything like that. And again, especially if you're thinking of whether you're thinking of just staying in the same niche, or you're thinking about branching off, and even if you don't plan on branching off right now, in the future you don't know what could possibly come up. You might get tired of this, or you might just get this feeling that you really want to be drawn over towards this other genre as well. Even if you don't do it under your own, you can use a different pen name if you don't want to do it under your own name. But again, this feedback that you get from your readers is what's going to make you stand out from your competition who's not doing it. All they're doing is focusing on putting out more content instead of getting the feedback from their readers to make that new content better. So I hope you guys like those answers or those ideas. Let me know in the chat and in the comments if you have some other ideas on ways that you can communicate and learn from your readers. Because social media is a great way to just tell your readers what you're doing. A newsletter is a great way for that. But to get the reciprocation back, to get feedback back from them, that's what's really going to make you stand out. And again, people really care. People love to know that they're being heard. Matter of fact, in a couple of the author visits that I've done, I've had a couple people who just want to chew my ear off and give me some, and they give me great ideas and great feedback. And I've actually done, okay, well, you know what, there's a line of people that need to sign it. If you want to stick around when I'm done, I'm going to go head over to Starbucks if you want to just sit down and chat a little more. And I've actually had a table full, I think there was 8 of us, where we just sat there for probably a good hour or so and just ran off ideas and suggestions. And so I know I've said before that I'm putting off my writings projects until January 1st, but I already have a list of ideas from those meetings that I've had. So again, if you have any other ideas, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments. Let's see who all is added to the house. Let's see. Candid's in the house. Glad to have you here. Your video's lagging. Sound is great though. Okay, I hope the video is caught up. Let's see. Again, Kevin's in the house. Sharon's in the house. Glad you're yeah, you're a little late, but that's fine. That's fine. Glad you came. Don James in the house. Good day from Singapore. Thank you so much for being here. That's awesome. Kevin, the last book was 41,000 words, longer than the first. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, and again, like I said, you listen to your readers, and that's what's going to make your books continue to improve, because they know they're being heard. And and the first time you do like a survey or anything like that, you might not get a lot of feedback, but once people are hearing and seeing that you're listening to them, then they're really going to start responding, and they're going to start giving you even better content. Let's see. Andy, I struggle to write 20,000 words. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't know if anybody is planning on doing NaNoWriMo. I did NaNoWriMo a couple of years ago. It was my first time doing it, and that's when I wrote One Bad Call. For those of you who don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it's for the month of November, for the 30 days of November. It's basically a challenge that you can write 50,000 words, like 50,000 word novel in those 30 days. It's really exciting. It's not easy. It's not easy. And just like we've said before, it doesn't necessarily have to be 50,000 great words. Your rough draft is just that. It's a rough draft, but the important thing is to get it started and you get the word on word on paper, and then you can go from there. Still new to writing, but learning from the gurus and pros like you, Keith, Dale, and so many people. I appreciate that, Andy. I don't know if I'm a guru. I wouldn't really consider myself that, but I appreciate the kind words. Let's see. Oh, the Underground Toy Society's in the house. Jessica, glad to have you here. And this just jumped all over on me. Okay. We'll find you. Let's see. Vincent's here. Let's see. Didn't help me massively. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, concerns, comments? I don't know if you can tell, my throat's kind of going on me. But I want to make sure that Andy, great content. Thank you so much. All right, Andy, glad to hear everything's caught up. So if you guys do have any questions, just put them in the chat, put them in the comments below. So next week I plan on going over especially since we're in fourth quarter, I want to go over the software, the products that I use for my business that I really don't want to live without. I'm going to say can't live without, but I don't want to. So you're going to want to stick around for that next week. Also, another great way to help your readers find and connect to you is through your free Author Central account. If you haven't set one up yet, that's fine. I've actually created a quick tutorial to help you create an Author Central page. So make sure that you check that video out. I'll include a link to it in the show notes below. Anybody have any last questions, concerns, comments? All right, well, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Again, if you guys don't follow Dale L. Roberts with Self-Publishing with Dale, he's going to have a video this afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So you're going to want to check that out as well. Until next time, I'm Keith Wheeler, and remember to write right.